we're constantly seeing a spiritual battle right in front of our eyes. And as a Christian, in my view of things, there's a demonic war on the Jewish people. As Christians, we know that Satan goes after all human beings, but he has a special hatred for Christians and for Jewish people. And we can discuss that theologically at another time. But he hates all humans, but he especially has a little issue on those with those two peoples, one could say. And he hates the Jewish people, and we see what happened with Hitler and what Hitler tried to do. And this was a demonic attack. That's for another show, for another time. Why I'm saying this is when Hamas takes these Jewish hostages, demons, they can't even restrain themselves. They can't contain themselves in terms of what they have to do to the Jewish people. And why I say that, when I see that and know that, I just think, oh my God, like hardly the barbarities that they're going to inflict on these poor innocent people, and there's not going to be any accountability for the majority of them. What I'm saying is that right now Hamas is saying during all these negotiations, oh, we can't find 50, 60, 70 of them or 40. There's all these, the amount of hostages that were taken is not the hostages that remain, and they're saying they don't know what happened to them. For me, it's just a given that they are hiding what they did to these hostages, because they can't even keep hostages, because when demons get a hold of Christians and of Jews, they can't even contain themselves in terms of the torture that they inflict on them. And I just wanted to make that point, just the moral clarity of just even those hostages being missing, and even the testimonies that have been made by the people that got back and said that every single female is being raped and sexually abused and etc. And we hear even that the males are being sexually raped and etc. and sexually assaulted. And so this is the moral clarity of these two sides. And I want to add to that this Hamas leader, they have him on video. He's told that his 3 sons were just killed in a strike. God forbid that our children are killed. For any normal human being, and I'll mention Christians and Jews, if they're told, if you saw a Jewish leader that's told that his son was killed, or a Christian leader that's told his son was killed, there would be a certain reaction of grief. This guy is completely emotionless and then says, thank you, Allah, or something of that nature, of that my children were martyred. What a great privilege and honor. And then he takes a picture with the wife about their kids giving this sign of victory. This is demonic. We're dealing with a death cult. Annie, you're the expert on Islam. Do you want to just touch on that a little bit in terms of what I've been saying, and then we'll give it to Jeff?
Absolutely. You're 100% correct. And yes, we can argue the special hatred toward Jews and Christians from both sides of biblical view and Quranic view. It's right there. Evidence is there. And I personally think it's a very educated guess that the missing, quote unquote, air code, missing hostages aren't missing. They were either killed under torture. Female hostages could have been killed by repeated rape. And not that they're under any kind of international pressure as it is. Hamas, as you know, the new narrative is Israel committed genocide on October 7th. But in order to continue playing the victim card, they had to say what they said. And of course, especially mainstream media is running with the narrative. And I just want to add one more thing that is not necessarily about this very topic of Hamas, but I want to go back, and I have a message for Rashida Tlaib and anyone who thinks like her. I just want to make it very clear. Islam is not a race. Islam is not a race. So when someone criticizes Islam or Islamic behavior, that is not racism. On top of that, it's not Islamophobia either, because it's not an irrational fear. When Hamas members capture, they don't even ask you who you are. There were German tourists who got raped and butchered and killed. Okay. As long as you're a non believer, Hamas will see you as an enemy. So it is a very rational fear of spreading the truth about the dangers of Hamas, ISIS, Al Qaeda,
Yeah.
mullahs in Iran, or any of them. What I can say Islam is a cult that has the growth of it in the last 1400 years, as their prophet said, is fear, true fear. And remember, they have nothing to lose but 72 versions to gain when they die. And as the prime minister of Israel said, this problem will exist as long as they will celebrate death more than we celebrate life.
Thank you, Annie. Jeff, I just want to give you a heads up. This is the new thing Annie and I do. We invite a guest, and then her and I just talk the entire time.
Right.
But Jeff, go ahead.
I just want to chime in on one thing you pointed out, and that's the hostages. And Jimmy Carter lost his presidency because American hostages were held by Iran. Every night that was on the news, 444 days before they were released. American hostages in the embassy in Tehran. It was a real national story. And under Joe Biden, we've had Americans left behind in Afghanistan, and the media just ignored that. And now we've got Americans being held by Hamas in Gaza, and the media is ignoring that. I mean, there are 5 Americans among the 134, I believe, hostages that still have not been accounted for. My worry is, I share your concern, is that many of these people are dead. And many of these people, before they died, were horribly tortured and abused because these people are barbarians.
And they have to cover it up. They have to cover it up.
Right. And that story is not getting any play. We've got hostages that are being held by these people. These hostages need to be released. That needs to be an international story. And in Afghanistan, it wasn't. And it's not a story here. And it's just very frustrating to me that we are not valuing the lives of our allies and the lives of Americans.
And our leadership is on their side.